All right, let's get into it. Kelly Oubre, 2-year, $26 million deal to go to the Charlotte Hornets. Let's break it down. Before we get into the video, as always, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, and we're making a lot of NBA content over here. Still a couple more free agent signings that need to happen. I think it's Lauri Markkanen, Josh Hart, Dennis Schroeder are kind of the three that I'm watching. It sounds like Hart will probably stay. Markkanen is a little interesting because the Hornets were supposed to be interested in him, and then Dennis Schroeder is apparently getting interest from the Boston Celtics. So more content coming. Obviously, we have Summer League that will be starting on Sunday. It started in a couple areas like Utah and California for some teams. So yeah, we'll be providing a lot more NBA content here. And again, just kind of seeing how everything goes. I'll probably do an off-season winners and losers, maybe some grades and everything for some teams, and kind of preview for next year. But let's again subscribe to the channel if you want those videos, and let's get into Kelly Oubre. So Oubre, as you can see here, Shams tweeted out this morning that Oubre is going to the Hornets, 2-year, 26. You know, I heard some opinions on this and was reading some stuff about it, and there's seems to be some people that like aren't really happy about the money. I mean, 13 million on average for the next 2 years is not a whole lot of money that you're committing, and you can kind of get away with this kind of a thing when you have your star or your young core like PJ Washington and LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges. I mean, you can do this when they're on small contracts, right? Like, I don't believe the Hornets really have a bad contract outside of, you know, maybe the Hayward. I guess you can consider the Hayward a bad contract since it's kind of a longer deal. But, you know, they can get away with it because they have these young pieces, these young players on such small contracts. So I don't look at the money and say, oh my gosh, that's really bad. But I do question the fit a little bit for Kelly Oubre. Oubre, who started off last season with the Warriors, who played with the Warriors last season, started off the season very, very poor. I think it was like 20 plus 3-pointers that he missed to start the season straight. And, you know, obviously that hurts your shooting percentage numbers. But he's never been a guy who's been a high volume, super efficient scorer from three. So now let's, I'm going to throw this up here, and you may or may not be able to see it. But the some of the guys on the Hornets are shooting at a pretty solid rate already. So obviously they gave up Graham. He goes to New Orleans, and you know, obviously there's no more Malik Monk. But if you look, you know, PJ Washington's shooting pretty solid from three. Same with Gordon Hayward. Same with Rozier, and then Miles Bridges as well is shooting pretty solid from three. So they have shooters around LaMelo. But I think maybe they can have at least their idea here is with Oubre, they want to have maybe a guy who can score a little bit in transition, you know, be just kind of another athletic guy and a wing out there for them. You know, I look at the Hornets roster. I think they're in a good spot. I don't think that there's anything too glaring on this team that the team really needs to be able to have. But I ultimately am kind of excited to see this Hornets team next year. I mean, I don't think there's any evidence of the team getting worse. I think the team is still pretty solid and should be competing in the play-in likely. Now, I don't feel like they got too much better, but I do feel like, again, they're a team that is going to be right there on the cusp of the playoffs for next season. Let's pull this up here. One other thing that I wanted to mention with this team is that the Hornets haven't made too many moves. Now, they made the move of getting James Bouknight. Now, how many minutes he gets on a team that already features guys that you're bringing back and a guy that you traded for in Mason Plumlee, I don't know how many minutes we're going to see from Bouknight this year. But I do feel like the Hornets, again, they have this young core, again, a very young core outside of, you know, Hayward. Every one of these guys is extremely young, and Plumlee, I guess, but you know, these impact players are super young, so you want to be able to grow with them. I think one interesting thing that Charlotte could do here is that I think they could easily go and say maybe there's a move in the future where you can send a PJ Washington and a Miles Bridges to a team, because again, you're going to have to pay Bridges. His extension is coming up, so this is about the time where people want to gauge the trade market if this contract that they're going to give Bridges or Washington is a little too much. I assume that they'll keep him, but again, just something to keep in mind. Obviously, there's the Gordon Hayward money that is still out there. Hayward is, owed $90 million over the next 3 seasons, so that needs to kind of. I wonder what exactly they can do with that. I like Hayward as a player. Is he getting paid too much? I believe he is. But I don't feel like there's a move out there that can get Hayward off your books unless you're willing to take on kind of bad contracts on your end, which could lead to draft picks. But I don't know if Charlotte wants to do that and kind of get rid of a guy who was a solid starter for them last year. Obviously had injury issues, but I think he's worth keeping. But again, he could be a guy that you could try to trade in the future. Other than that, I mean, I don't know if I had the highest expectations for the Hornets going into the offseason. There was a little rumors about maybe a Miles Turner trade coming up. I didn't really ever feel like there was going to be something where they could go snag like, a Kyle Lowry type of a guy or a DeMar DeRozan or anything like that, just throwing out names. But I didn't think that they were going to be able to like get one of these bigger fish in the free agency class. They kind of just stay the course, use their cap. They trade for Mason Plumlee, kind of get their center that they're working with. But look, this team will get better next year just because the players themselves will get better. LaMelo Ball obviously makes an impact on winning. When they were playing Rozier and Graham to start the year last year, I just thought it was crazy. I'm like, why aren't you just playing LaMelo? Like obviously Graham wasn't the future. I don't think any Hornets fan can sit here and say that Rozier is the future. It's obviously LaMelo and these other 2 forwards that they have in Washington and Bridges, and they're the guys they're going to roll with, in the short term at least. But so LaMelo, getting a full season of LaMelo will be really impactful. Probably will lead to a higher winning percentage next year. I say that just because there's obviously going to be a little bit more games, so everybody's going to probably up their win total in a way. But I think the Hornets did solid here. I don't hate the move. Question the move as far as the fit on the court a little bit. Again, I don't see him being a super ideal fit. Now, if you can surround everybody, is there a lineup where it's Bridges, Rozier, LaMelo, Washington, and Oubre? Like, is that your 5 that maybe is in at some point of the game when Hayward's out or anything, and Plumlee are out? Like, because I don't think you can put Oubre and Mason Plumlee on the floor. But maybe they're confident that his shooting might be something that could improve next season, given how up and down he's been in his career. That is it on Kelly Oubre. I'm going to make another video today, barring anything crazy happening. I don't anticipate too much today. We're hearing a little bit of Dennis Schroeder. If that happens, I'll make a video on it. But again, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, comment, tell me where I was good, tell me where your thoughts may differ. Like the video. And I'm trying to provide as much content as I can that gives more coverage to some of these little moves that may not be on the mainstream channels of sports network. Again, subscribe to the channel if you like the video, and we're going to be coming out with a lot more stuff. I'm going to make a Clippers video right now and just break down what they've done. But again, subscribe, like the video, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.